And welcome back to TeacherCast Live from the Microsoft booth here at ISTE 2015. Today we are talking all about MineCraft EDU. I have Jeff here. Jeff, how are you?
Doing well, thanks. How about you?
I'm doing fantastic. 25,000 educators all in Philadelphia, all having a great time learning about technology, learning how to infuse learning into their students. What do you think about all this?
You know, I think that one of the great things about ISTE is that with such a range of people here, such a range of expertise, there's always a way to find a wide range of niches and a lot of different interests that speak to the varied uses that we see in technology today.
Is this your first ISTE conference?
This is my second.
What do you think?
I like the setup this year. It's certainly, you know, with so many people here, it's always an interesting challenge just to see, with so much going on, what you're going to focus on at any given point in time. But we've had some great conversations, some great learning happening the first couple of days.
Is this your first time to Philadelphia?
First time in a long time.
Nice. We are here talking all about MineCraft and specifically MineCraft EDU. Let's get a poll from the audience. How many of you guys are using MineCraft or have students that use MineCraft? There are a lot of teachers here that like the MineCraft. So let's start off here. What is MineCraft?
MineCraft is a lot of different things to a lot of different people, and I think
it's the toys that you find in the hall, right? Like,
yeah, exactly. It's the
sword thing, right?
And the shirts that you see all the sixth graders wearing. And no, one of the things that I think speaks to the power of it is that there are a lot of different approaches that you can use for this tool. It's a game. It's an environment that encourages kids to build and to create. And one of the things that we've really seen at University Prep that we're getting a lot of mileage out of is the idea of using it as a build environment, as a design environment, a place where kids can design and build freely and create artifacts of their learning that really show their understanding of a certain topic.
Wait a minute. I thought MineCraft was a place to go around and look at sheep and you dig for oil or... What are you talking about here?
So there are two buttons that you use in MineCraft.
Okay.
And you know, when you first get in, you got to keep the two buttons on the mouse straight because one of them breaks and one of them builds.
Okay.
And so for everything that you have that is digging and that is breaking and that is chasing the sheep all over the mountain, the other side of it is using it to build. And it's using it to create structures of enormous size or complexity to a scale that that's really just limited by the size of the server and the amount of the computer you've got available to handle it.
So I've seen some videos of people using MineCraft. It's quite an obsession to some, right?
It is.
And I've seen people fighting. I've seen people creating these great statues and characters. What are we looking at right here? What is this? Because I don't think I know how to do this yet.
So this is an example from one of my classes, one of my projects. This was a hall that our students built to welcome people into our MineCraft server. And we started with the challenge, and the challenge was build a MineCraft server which recreates the mission and values and vision of our school. So that's very different than kind of what we think of as a player versus player game and running around hacking with swords. That's not the mission of our school.
What's a MineCraft server?
Great question.
You're already lost me here.
So MineCraft is a program which runs on a server that you're going to log into. And so that server is going to host your world. So when we talk about MineCraft, what we're really talking about is a huge collection of servers all around the world, each hosting its own virtual environment. And so you as a user, you're going to log into that world, and it's going to be whatever has been set up on that server. That means that there are different rules in every server. It means that there's a different world in every server because every server has a different group of people who have been creating and building and generating inside that environment.
Do I need to know what a MineCraft server is if I'm running a MineCraft club?
It definitely helps to have a little bit of orientation to it, but there are a couple of different approaches to MineCraft. And when we talk about MineCraft in schools, a lot of times we see people using the MineCraft EDU version. And MineCraft EDU is a version which has a lot of kind of a framework built into it to make it easier to run in a school environment. And one of the things in there is the automatic server launcher, which makes it very easy for you to spin up a server in one classroom computer. You can put it in a classroom lab, and you can really put it anywhere that the network will support it.
So talk to us about what you're doing with your class, because this looks really awesome.
So this was for my middle school digital media elective. And again, the challenge that I gave them was build a server, build a world which reflects the mission and values and vision of University Prep as a school. And so we had to have some conversations about, what does that look like? What separates different types of games? What is a creative game versus a competitive or a combative game? And so as they kind of teased this out, we had to spend a lot of time brainstorming about what each of the different kind of topics in our mission statement were. And so they created some mind maps of the different kinds of things that would be involved in the game, that would be involved in the server, that had to do with the different aspects of our environment. So here is the world that they built around this challenge. And as we talked about it, they pulled out these 6 aspects of the mission statement for our school that they wanted to feature. And we brainstormed again what those things would look like and what those would turn into rules in the environment. And then they started to build. And the first thing that they built was an actual copy of the mission statement. So this is the first thing that you see when you log into our world. And it's a reminder that this is what we're doing in this space.
And each of these things, somebody had to brick by brick put this together.
Correct. This was one student's about 2 class days of building all these letters by hand. And at first she started building and they were way too big. And so we kind of had to take a step back and have a conversation about scale and about what the size was. And we kind of talked about, well, okay, how are you going to actually plan this so you don't have to just do it 6, 7, 8, 9 times? And so we came up with going up to the math room and getting some grid paper and starting to lay out a grid. And so now she had to start thinking about scale and had to take 2 or 3 different attempts at how these letters would be formed to be able to fit on the wall. And in the end, this was, like I say, about 2 or 3 days worth of work for her to get everything fit on here the way that she wanted.
I like how it's 2 different colors. That was pretty cool.
Right. Well, that was part of it, was that the eyes couldn't be, first they couldn't be capitalized because that takes too much horizontal space. So, okay, lowercase i's. Then she couldn't separate the dot because the dot was too close together. What if you make them a different color? So these are the kind of design challenges that she had to work through to get this to fit on this wall. They wanted to have a job board in here, and so they thought if we have a collaborative environment, if we have a creative environment, people are going to need things done in this space. But one of the things we talked about was, how do you deal with kids who don't have as much experience with Minecraft? How do you deal with students who are logging in for the first time but aren't as familiar with it? Well, we want to make new students comfortable. We want to make new students welcome. So if they need help, they can put a job on the job board, and anybody else who's looking for something to do can come in and help them out. And so they had to build a mechanism. Now, again, these are the kids who are a little bit more familiar with it, said, oh, well, if we have this box, and in this box, everybody can show up and pull out a sign, and then they can write what they need on the sign, and they can go tack it on the wall. So the more advanced students jumped in and said, okay, I know how to do that. We'll go set that up, while the beginning students were off doing something that was a little bit more basic to their skill level. And so this is one of the things that is also really exciting to see in big class environments, as we've rolled this out for big classes, is to see that there really is there are things that different levels of students can be doing at any given point in time. And we were concerned going in about, well, the students who are really comfortable and really advanced, are they going to be having all the fun while the beginning students are just walking around looking at sheep? And really there was this ability to find different tasks for everybody to be working on with kind of their level of sophistication.
So really, we're looking at a platform here that not only teaches creativity, construction design, but this is crowdsourcing? I mean, this is a group effort here.
Oh yeah, the project management aspect of this really exploded, and the first quarter, this is a semester-long elective, and in the first quarter we tried to do some kind of collaborative media projects, and we've been trying to build the project management idea. And it was really hard to find an authentic project structure with this group where everybody was able to work at that level. But as soon as we turned it into something like this, and I was talking with our science teacher who also does some Minecraft projects, and I think that she said it really well, that the nature of these projects and the nature of designing in here is that at all times everybody's hands-on with something. And so that really gets around when you have a lot of students kind of sitting around waiting for one person to finish the video editing or one person to finish the research stage. Because everybody was logged in, everybody's working simultaneously, there was a really authentic project management aspect to it.
Now, as far as the time that goes, can a student do this on their tablets, on their phone, as well as their Windows device?
Here's where it gets a little bit chewy. The MineCraft that we are talking about here that runs on the servers that we can get everybody logged into, that we can have that level of control in, only works in kind of full computing environments, in your Mac, in your Windows, in your Linux. So, for example, we were able to use this cross-platform with students working on Macs while I'm working on my Surface. Works fine. There is an iPad version of MineCraft, but it doesn't work with the EDU version, and it doesn't work with the open server infrastructure. They have their own kind of separate servers to power the MineCraft version, and so because of that, using it on iOS is really limited. We have a one-to-one iPad program in our middle school, and so those are the kids that we're doing these projects with. And so for my class, we were working in our media lab, which has the MacBooks, and for other classes that didn't have full computer labs in the course, we were able to push in laptops to support this. So this is really a laptop or desktop-friendly setup.
Now, I've talked to a lot of parents who have students that are using this, and they all have a single question. Is there a feature in MineCraft that reminds students to take a nap?
I think you could probably build that in with a clock or a message or something. It is, it's funny when you talk about the kind of projects that the kids run to class for. And this was the project where I was the last one into the classroom every single day we were doing this. There is something compelling about it. And I do think that there's something that teachers should think about in terms of whether or not you're going to give access to your MineCraft server from home. And at some point, it does seem like a no-brainer to be able to say, hey, they do this at home, they love it, engagement, time, yes, yes, yes. But at some point, I think for us, we started to ask the question of if this is a school environment, and the rules here are a little bit different than the MineCraft games that they might be playing at home, do we want to allow that external access? Do we want them to be able to log in at any time of night? And so depending on different projects and different classes, we've answered that question both ways. We've had some projects that have been externally open so kids can use them from home. We've had some projects that we have shut down so that they're only on campus.
So if I was going to be starting up a MineCraft club in my school, is there a budget that I should be thinking? Are there accessories that I need? What do I need to do to get my kids a whole bunch of foam swords?
The budget is, I think it really depends on what hardware you have available. I mean, assuming you've got access to the computers, the software and the licenses are pretty manageable. And you could be, depending on the number of kids you're talking about, for a MineCraft EDU license, you could be out $100 to $150 to set up a class. Obviously, as you scale up, that you're going to have to pay for the per-user licenses, but it's concurrent uses. So again, if you are only using them in discrete classes, if kids aren't logging in from home, then it's pretty easy to just get a class set and get that set up and know that the kids are going to be rotating through as the classes do.
So when you're getting your students at this point, they're clearly creating learning lessons. They're clearly creating things that are going to help them in other classes. What other real-world examples are you seeing in the MineCraft world?
So this was one project that we did. I'll switch over. I mentioned our science teacher a couple of times. I'll switch over and show you what she was doing in 6th grade science, because one of the things that is really exciting to me about this project is that it involves everybody. And you mentioned having a MineCraft club, an after-school activity, and that's certainly something that we see a lot of, and that's a model that we really see happening a lot. But one of the things that we're really looking for in our academic technology program in general is that it allows all students to see themselves as creative users of technology, regardless of whether they come to us with any past expertise or experience. We want all the kids to get a valuable technology experience out of it. And I think that that applies to MineCraft as much as anything else. If we opened up an after-school MineCraft club, I know the kids that would show up, and they're the kids who are already playing MineCraft, and there's something to be said for that. But this is a project that runs in 6th grade science, and this is actually our second draft of this project. The first draft was an opt-in. So we did at the end of 6th grade science, you study rivers, and you study rivers as an ecosystem. And you study the formation of rivers, and in particular, we're in the Pacific Northwest, so it's what about river ecology facilitates salmon habitat? What do salmon do at different points of the rivers? How does the salmon life cycle interact with rivers? And they could, build a model, and they could draw a map. And then one track last year was they could also build a river in MineCraft. And that project, it had some wins. It was a first draft for us. But we got to the end of it, and one of the things that we really kind of weren't as happy about was the fact that it didn't involve everybody. It caught exactly the people who said, ooh, hey, I can do this in Minecraft, awesome, and then go with it. So this year it was the sixth grade project. All sixth grade science students did this. And it was amazing to see the change over the course of 3 or 4 weeks here of the students who initially kind of resisted and said, you know, this is not my thing. I don't do games. I don't do computers. But once they got into it and got their hands dirty and had the experience of building and of creating and designing it, really got something meaningful out of it and really got excited about it and became more engaged in it. And so there was that change over the course of the project of the kids who were normally kind of on the outside looking in, getting into it and really having some good success out of it.
Now, you said there's a difference between Minecraft and Minecraft EDU.
Correct.
And you said that those are two different servers.
Right.
What happens if a student leaves the district, graduates on? Is there a way to take any of that content with them?
The way that the Minecraft servers operate, everything lives on the server. The server is the virtual environment, and so people come in, log into it, and interact, and then they leave, and that server is persistent. That world always exists there. So it's a little bit different of a way of thinking about, you know, what is an artifact? What do the students take out of it? And that's one of the challenges when you think about, okay, so we're going to have our kids build in Minecraft. Then the question is, so what do you assess? Like, what is the product? What do you take away from it? And there are a lot of different ways that you can structure that. You see a lot of projects that get a lot of value out of reflective writing, out of journaling, you know, and really kind of describing the process. And that's one form of assessment. Another thing, though, that we've started doing, you know, of course, you can have presentations, and a student can just stand up and, just like I'm doing now, show the world behind them, and that's what we use in a lot of group projects. One person's flying the Minecraft world and demonstrating while the others are explaining. But when you talk to people who are really into Minecraft as a hobby, who do this, you know, for fun, the big thing is these Minecraft demo videos. And on YouTube, there are just channels and thousands of videos of people making these fly-through videos of their project. And they build the Taj Mahal, and then they make a 1-minute video flying around it. And it saves you the time in the presentation of physically having to walk from one place to the other, because you can speed it up in the video. And it makes it a really dynamic presentation, and it's something that, again, for the kids who are really into the Minecraft community, it's something that they get and that they recognize.
So we know that there's a difference between, you know, like I said, EDU, non-EDU. Mm-hmm. We're now in a position where we're transitioning. We're getting new students in. Do you start a new Minecraft server, or do you just start in September and your kids are building Project 1, but they're in the same virtual environment that everybody else has been working on for the last couple of years?
You can do it either way. And again, it kind of depends on the structure of your project and the structure of the world and what it is that you want to do. For this project, so this is the 6th grade science project, and students are constructing rivers, and you can see they have to label the features of the river. So they can build signs in Minecraft, and that's something that we use as a label. It basically becomes a virtual museum. So in this case, the student's indicating here, so this is the stage of the river where you know, the spawning adults are coming up, and you can see in the background it says that the rocks are really small here, because we asked them to talk about what type of different geological features would you see at each stage of the river.
So when you're looking at this text, is this actually typed in, or are you brick by brick by brick on this?
Great question. The signs, that's something that you just type into. You say, I'm going to create a sign, you plant the sign, a little pop-up box comes up and says, type your message in. So for this, it wasn't created, you know, point by point like the other one. This world is something that I created as a template for the students to use. And it's basically one island surrounded by water. The island is a big circle, and we had them all spawn right in the center. Load in right in the center of the island. And the first thing we did is I went in and I planted 30 signs around the corners of the island for different stations. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we told the kids, get in your groups, go find a spot, and that's your starting point. That's your slice of the island.
So when you're looking at this,
Mm-hmm.
I see layers, I see colors. What did this look like before you started? Was it flat? Was it blue? Was it green?
Great question.
What are we looking at here to make this? Because this is really, really intimidating.
So everything that you see here that's not green was created by students. When we first loaded in, if we could imagine that this was, you know, before the students got there, the slope was there. It was just these green blocks that kind of slope down into the sea.
So when you started, there was a mountainside.
Correct. That's the part that I created in a program called World Painter.
Okay.
And I used that to create the template. Now, Minecraft in general, when you load in and just say, hey, start the server, jump in, give me a Minecraft game, it actually randomly generates all of the terrain in there. So when you start up a server for the first time, you have no idea what you're going to get in there. And that's part of the fun of a lot of the creative games, is that you go in and you have to find a place that is kind of conducive to whatever it is you want to do. For us, though, this was a project that we knew had really specific learning objectives. They have to design and label different parts of the river. And so we said, let's make this as easy as possible and just give them as best a blank canvas, which is a slope that goes from the beginning out into the ocean.
And so this is on a Minecraft EDU server?
Correct.
Is there an Minecraft EDU server? Or I guess what I'm trying to ask is, how does my school create something and share it with your school?
Once you create a world, you can save the world and you can pass it around and you can export it. And Minecraft EDU has a great community of users who have generated worlds for specific themes or as examples of what their students have done. And there are really robust, really built-out worlds that are meant to accomplish certain learning objectives. The wonderful World of Humanities comes to mind, is an enormous server that features different eras of human history and different examples of architecture and societies throughout time. And you think about the amount of time that it took to build that world out, but it's just incredibly deep. ComputerCraft is another one that is a specific world that is meant to teach computer science. And so it has challenges and exercises and activities that are built around teaching computer science and programming in a world.
Now, when you say download, is it giving you a file? Do you have to drop it, or are you giving me a password to get into your classroom?
When you share a world with somebody, it's a collection of files. It's a package that you're going to install into your server, and that is the world that your server runs. A server can only run one world at a time. And so when we have one server that rotates between many projects like we do, as soon as the server's over, we save the world as it is at that point in time. We shut the server down. We archive that world and save it so we can go back to it later if we want to, and then put in the new world, start the server back up, and now we're up and running for whatever that next project is.
So we're here live at the Microsoft booth. Is this pretty impressive, guys? Yeah. This is really. Are there any questions out here for Jeff about anything that he's doing with his students?
The feedback, I mean, like I said, the most important part of the feedback, I think, for me is the before and after with those students who really weren't excited about it at the beginning, but then after going through the process, really were engaged in it, really got a lot out of it. And I think that we had a great moment where, just as this project was running up, we asked 2 or 3 of the students to come down to our school board and speak to the group about the project that they were doing, just kind of give them an example. And they were really excited about the project. They talked about how much fun it was. They talked about how good it was. But they also, one of the key points, I think, was when one of the students, and this is a 6th grader, says, we could have done this with a test, but because we had to build it, because we had to design it, and in particular because we had to spend so much time with it, we learned it much better. There is something to that idea of having to actually build it rather than just putting it back in the test and moving on. So I think that it's certainly something that had a lot of buy-in from the kids. It was something that they were really excited about. And now that was in 6th grade. Now other of our middle school teachers are starting to look at it to say, well, if the 6th graders do this, where can we continue it in 7th and 8th grade? Are there points to kind of carry it on in different grades?
Jeff, I want to say thank you so much for your time today. This stuff is absolutely fantastic. Where do we start to get a hold of Minecraft? How do we begin?
There are a couple places that I think are great resources to start with, and the first is, again, Minecraft EDU has a great community, a Google group attached to it that has a lot of really knowledgeable educators and people who have been doing this for a long time, and that's a great place to ask questions of other teachers about how they've been doing it in the classroom. One of the biggest things is just to get access to a server. We were lucky we were able to just start one on campus, but just sit down with some students and just watch them do it for a little while. And that was always, having run this as a project in my class, there were a lot of times where I had that instinct to jump in and say, okay, I'm going to teach ABC, and the most important thing was to step back and just say, okay, you guys just take a stab at this and let me see what you come up with. And the solutions that they know how to do and can share are really, really creative and really deep.
Well, congratulations on all the success here
Thank you.
with MineCraft. We will be back live from the Microsoft booth here at ISTE 2015.